Yeah, just brief introduction. So Cybergrid is a technology supplier for demand response solutions. So we basically offer the systems that cover demand response area for utilities. So the headquarters in Vienna or in Klosterneuburg, and since July this year, we're a member of Toshiba Group. Right, so just to bring us all up to the same page about demand response, what demand response is or what we consider it. It's basically that the consumers or also distributed generation adopts their behavior basically by optimizing their energy use. So this means that they go away from their normal behavior through an IT system to basically give capacity or to pull capacity together and participate in different markets. So again, we have a normal, like a normal behavior pattern, and we basically optimize or change our behavior through an IT system to pull capacity, bring it up to the customer, to the markets. So what does it do to the utilities, or why would somebody want to do that? So if we have this is an example of a Hamburg project. So basically the customers with different loads, we can basically call them Lego blocks, or basically different blocks of capacity, which one by one don't mean much, but integrated together or aggregated together, they can form a meaningful capacity. Are basically aggregated together, as I mentioned, in a block, and then put on a trading floor. And on the trading floor inside the utility, let's say the trader would decide which capacity or which basically resource to use at any given moment. And of course, demand response has a certain, let's say, certain rules or certain way how it behaves. It's very efficient, let's say, in short term. It cannot last for a long time, but of course, it doesn't have any maintenance. So it's, let's say, it's ongoing all times, which can quite nicely complement many generation resources. And then, as mentioned, this capacity is put either on intraday markets, balancing markets, or any kind of different markets, as were mentioned by Jessica and Jan, which of course are able to accept demand response capacity. There aren't many countries still in Europe, but I'm actually very glad to say that Slovenia just recently joined one of the markets that basically went from red, as was said, to yellow or maybe even green in sometime in near future. So I have written close to real time at all my slides. So this is a very important part. So if we talk on typical energy markets, we talk about long-term contracts, like more traditional way. We're talking real time, more IT supported systems here, because the demand response can really bring value in short notice. Right, so where is demand response today, or where is it going? So in many countries, it's, as mentioned, still science fiction. So and by science fiction, meaning that basically letting the customer to the market to participate with its flexibility, this is something like, whoa, wait a minute, this is unreliable, this is such and such. So, and as mentioned again, this is, let's say, the first step to go to demand response, to actually finding out that this is not science fiction, it's actually functioning. We see it across Europe now quite extensively. I'll also mention a couple of projects later on where we work, but this is, or let's say in the US or maybe Australia, this has gained ground a bit sooner. We have also Mike Gordon there, if somebody wants to talk to him later. I think he was one of the first guys, if not the first guy, who introduced demand response to us, right, Mike?
Thanks for the pitch.
Right, so what we have is then an early stage of the industry. So if we still imagine, or if the system doesn't evolve, we'd still be going on with mobile phone like that. Luckily, the industry evolved, and we have iPhones, so we tend to play with them now. So by evolving the industry, what does that mean? So we're trying to be efficient. We're trying to bring the customer to the system. Once the market opens up, the next challenge is how to bring the customers to the market. And this is, let's say, the stage where, let's say, a lot of European countries are getting to. And of course, with that process, such big boxes are starting to disappear. Okay, so let's say Cybergrid's goal, just in short. So we want to, our target is to enable different customers, mostly commercial, industrial, to participate in demand response. I would like to refer to what Jan mentioned before, so especially about the, let's say, the household consumers. I think in many countries, household consumers are able to participate, although it's maybe, let's say, the commercial industrial maybe at present is a low-hanging fruit because there is more capacity to be gained in short term. So we want to do this without the box, of course. So we'd like to have the different customers being able to participate or to offer their capacity in short term without any major, let's say, setback or without any major equipment. So what's the red line or what's missing? So if we let's say skip this science fiction part, so that we let's say all agree that demand response can participate eventually, and it's about bringing the customers to the markets. And when we talk about bringing customers to the markets, how can we bring them? Well, there has to be some sort of real-time consumption and generation data. This is not in place in many countries, or this is basically not in place in any of the countries right now in Europe. Because or at least a transparent system that would do that is not there yet. So I hear a lot of talks in the recent years, or in the, let's say, maybe last half year about this, but not before. Because if we just collect the metering and metering data for the billing, this is not enough, obviously, for demand response. So for each of those, so for managing renewables, virtual power plants, or demand response systems, we need to go close to real time. So what we have today, or where, as said, I'm focusing now on the second step, enabling the customers to the market. We basically have a current situation where kilowatt hours, or basically metering, is done via meter service providers, DNOs, market entities in some countries, via so providing the data to the retailers or generators. We have kind of a gray zone still in the real-time meter data collection system. So this means that basically each of the aggregators, private aggregators, does it in their own way, or does it in kind of, let's say, unique way, which might not be the most efficient. So I think the biggest development in the next years will be here. Because if, let's say, if you're a mid-sized consumer in whatever, Slovenia, Austria, Germany, doesn't matter, or France, right now, without some guy coming and installing the box at your site, you cannot really participate anywhere. So we'd like to avoid that. So what it's the project, one of the projects in this respect is called 360 platform. It's basically extending the way of the metering services also to the real time via technical VPP, and goes towards managing renewables again in a more orderly, or let's say more affordable way for the consumers. Right, so just an example of a solution. This one was done in Slovenia together with Elektro Ljubljana, so Igor will talk more later on about it. I would just like to mention that we basically tried to connect different consumers directly to the virtual power plant. So basically that they are being enabled, or they are enabled to participate their capacity in real time to the virtual power plant, again, without any specific installations besides the smart meter at place. Of course, I'm talking now about visibility, bringing the data up, how you decide to control different loads or manage different loads, either smart appliances for the households or some direct control systems or something third, like, you know, traditional SMS systems. This, of course, is a second, or this is another topic. Right. So just a couple of slides to conclude. So about Cybergrid, as mentioned again, Cybergrid basically provides a virtual power plant environment which connects directly from the meter different resources, basically aggregates them into the capacity. So we basically, again, we enable the retailers to basically bring this capacity to the market. Just a couple of words. So about us again. So we do commercial projects right now in Germany, Belgium, Slovenia, France. We're starting one in Austria also. So we participate on many R&D projects. I wouldn't mention many of them also with several Slovenian companies like ALS, Elektro Ljubljana, Borze, and some others. So, right, and this would basically conclude. So we're also proud to be a member of SEDC, so Smart Energy Demand Coalition, which I think is right now the leading force in adopting or in, let's say, bringing the value of demand response to the European floor. So thanks a lot for this.